Then I believe some of the trustees had some words to offer. Desiree?
I will. Desiree, we're going to miss you so much. I know we didn't get very long to have you on our board.
That brings us to the period for public presentation.
First
one I have is Cliff Acosta. You have 3 minutes.
My name's Cliff Acosta. I'm going to be talking a little bit about discrimination with Enoch's High School. Discrimination and bullying has been a word that I've only heard others speak of, but have not been the direct recipient of until recent events. I now see how the corruption at Enoch's High School administration has used race, religion, and friendship as a way to discriminate and bully not only my family, but others like mine. Our story started last year when one of our daughters, who is Mexican-American and a junior at Enoch's High School, started to get bullied by a white girl whose father, Jason Taylor, is a teacher at Downey High School, who has worked, become friends, attends church with Deborah Rowe, who is a white principal at Enoch's. Cheryl Risen, who is Deborah Rowe's assistant, and Michael Schroyer, who is the vice principal, of whom are both white. We began the complaint process before the school year started, letting the school know that there were obvious issues between both girls. The school, in my opinion, was very whitewashed about the situation. As time went on, we continued to fill out witness complaint forms about the bullying, but was only met with, and I quote, "We can't do anything until something happens." The bullying continued. We continued to tell supervision office with the same results. I tried to have the cheerleading coach, Miss Butterfield, call me to discuss the situation, but I did not get a return call. I asked for a meeting with the parent and was denied a meeting through email. The bullying would not stop. I told my daughter, do not get bullied anymore and protect yourself, as any parent would do, and that is exactly what she did. She was assaulted, and now we are the ones who were forced to sign some document to keep us out of Enoch's High School. We're not white. We do not attend the same school. We do not attend the same church. We're not friends with any of the administration at Enoch's. I know some of you know our situation, but for those of you who don't, the bully never was punished. Nothing. The cheerleader has a long list of complaints, but because she is white, friends with the principal, and attends the same church, nothing seems to happen. This cheerleader has associated herself with friends who are professed racist. Jason Taylor has himself said he doesn't want to live in the same neighborhood as Mexicans and blacks. This behavior should not be tolerated, but unfortunately the minority always loses out and pays the ultimate price. I honestly believe that if the school district or school would have adopted the zero tolerance policy, we would not have had to spend our time, money, or energy. I want to end with this. I was always told it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I want to thank Enoch's and Modesto City Schools for reinforcing that saying and showing me and my family the true definition of discrimination. Thank you.
Ricky McGill.
The reason why I volunteer because I think that if you are going to change anything, you have to get involved. So no one will or I will take any salary or any money for doing what I think I should do for the community. But today, it's a sad thing to say that we have students in our high school, 10th grade, 9th grade, that do not know their multiplication tables. And I know that we need to do some kind of pilot program, because if these students can get in high school and don't know their multiplication table, I know they don't know their multiplication tables in elementary school. And anybody know anything about Common Core? And my experience is that I was a vice principal, a teacher, have a master's in education administration, social studies, so I know lots about education, and a retired principal from the state of California. And anybody know anything about Common Core? Those are cognitive skills. In other words, a person has to be able to think, read, and if you can't multiply, you can't divide. If you can't divide and you can't subtract and you can't add, you cannot do any algebra. It is virtually impossible to do that.
Doug Burton.
At a June meeting, I made a request that a report be given in public to the school board regarding the changes of job descriptions and additional positions in the district. I made an additional request at your last board meeting. I am happy to announce that Deputy Superintendent of Human Resources, Craig Ridquist, on Friday afternoon gave me a PDF that outlines those changes, but the request was for that hearing, that report to be given in public. And I request again, when are we going to hear that report in public? Because the community has a right to hear it. The night that I made the initial request, Nan Austin, the reporter from the Modesto Bee, thanked me for making the request because she too believes the community is interested in hearing that information. Frankly, as the president of MTA, I know most of this information, but I think the public has a right to hear it as well. Thank you.
Frank Johnson.
My name is Frank Johnson, president of the NAACP, Modesto Stanislaus Branch 1048. I'm here tonight because things have not changed with this school district. Recently, I visited a school and was just totally blown away to be shocked at what I saw. A school that had absolutely no African American employee whatsoever in this district. 2015, not even a janitor. But yet I'm there investigating discrimination. I wonder why. As I sit here and I look in here, I see the same thing when I walk into these school offices. I don't see any difference here than I see in these school offices. You do not, under any circumstances from this day forth, represent my community. Enough is enough. If you need documentation, let's look at it. LCAP. Where's the transparency? I haven't received a letter in my office whatsoever to even be a part or participate in anything with this LCAP. The transparency is for the community. That's why you got the money. LCAP, design, money given for poor kids, English learners, foster kids. What program have you implemented to allow the community to monitor this? I don't know anything
Your
about
3 minutes are up, Mr. Johnson.
I'm sure it is.
Takes us to item 4, consideration of possible approval of option/appointment to fill board vacancy arising from resignation of board member Desiree Romo, effective January 3rd, 2016. Superintendent Abel.
Thank you, President Grimbo. As you are all aware, you just stated Trustee Desiree Romo tendered her resignation to the board effective January 3rd, 2016. Before the board this evening are the options to choose from to fill this vacancy by no later than February 3rd. The board may adopt a procedure and proceed with the appointment process. This would include an application and interview process, or the board may choose to nominate someone and appoint them this evening. Remember that in either case, the appointee will have no powers until 30 days after the appointment. The second option is to call for an election to fill the vacancy. Cost estimates for a special election would run anywhere between $161,000 to $362,000. So my recommendation to the board is to avoid the cost of a special election and choose one of the appointment options.
Is there any member of the board that wishes to have a special election and go through the money? So that just leaves the two options: to appoint tonight or to go through the interview process again. Any questions from the board? Questions or comments from the public?
Frank Johnson, and I hope I'm not the only one that gets that gravel banged on me. To appoint is really an injustice to the entire community.
But to set up and have an appointment without having some people submit their application and go through some kind of process. That, if we're not going to have an election, is a better, it's a better situation.
I stand before you. My name is Chad Brown. Humbled at this opportunity to address the board. I support this board in whatever action you choose to take this evening, whether that be to go out for interviews or to make an appointment at your discretion. I cannot justify the expense and take money away from our children and their education to hold a special election. I would like to let you know that I am ready, willing, and able to step forward as a candidate in whatever process this board would choose.
I'm thankful for the opportunity to address you. I am Darius Crosby, senior pastor here in Modesto, president of the Dr. Parker Committee for Modesto City Schools. In your search for this person, that you search for someone who has cultural competence. And I'll let that marinate just for a little bit. Cultural competence. Someone with experience, but not someone who's looking to learn how to forge vital relationship, but someone who's already practicing it in this community. Believe it or not, that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Hi, Mike Chavetta, teacher, Modesto High. I just have one question. I just want to know if the person who will be appointed, selected for the school board, will they serve an entire 2-year term?
Yes.
Well, I think that is a really important point. We've had appointments, we've had interviews in the past, but it's always been for 3 or 4 months. It hasn't been for, what would be, 23 months? And considering what the district is going through, the crisis with our contract, et cetera, I think appointing somebody would be a grave mistake.
Good evening.
I mean,
my name is Lincoln Ellis. I happen to be the president and CEO of the Boys and Girls Club here in Stanislaus County. And I want to state that, first of all, I appreciate the support that we have received through the West Modesto King Kennedy Collaborative in working with the superintendent. What we need is leadership. And I do believe that Chad Brown, whether you appoint him or you consider him as you go through your process, will be a key individual. He's impacted young people across this community all of his life. And I think he will serve you well as a member of your board. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mac Wilson. And I've been fighting this system since 1960. And we get up here and talk, but you people don't pay us no attention. We need qualified people. We need to be sitting on these boards when they make decisions. We have qualified people. I'm qualified. And the thing about it is we need black teachers. We need black principals. We need black people on this board here. I know 2 black individuals on this board here, and it came time for them to be president. You treat them like a dog. They called me up and I came out and talked. You didn't make them president when they came up. Their time came up. I witnessed a lot of stuff here. And the thing about it is you people getting paid good money, and we need black teachers, black principals, black people working in administration, building over there. I know you don't have them because I've been fighting since 1960. I know what I'm talking about. And the thing about it, I have 2 sons that are attorneys. My wife died 20 years ago. I raised them myself from 2 years old. And don't tell me about you can't do it, because if you got God on your side, you don't lose nothing. You don't have God in your heart. I can tell. I'm not mad at nobody. Every morning I get up, I thank God for a good day or bad day. I spent money this year on kids buying books, clothes and stuff. You gave us a little piece of money last year, and you took it back. We did a good job with the kids. We took them on trips and all field trips. Not the parents. We did it ourselves. I spent my money, my son did too. They come all the way down from San Francisco. They're here tonight from San Francisco to help our kids because they went through the same thing. And it's no different. You haven't changed. We come and talk. You don't listen to us. We need to be on some of these decisions you make around here. But this is our community. You need to get involved and come out in the community. You don't come out in the community until election time comes. After that, you don't come. You understand what I mean? And the thing about it, I'm telling you that I had 5 surgeries. I'm here a lot of times. You guys know I got out of the hospital several times. Came straight from the hospital to this board. We don't have the support of the parents and stuff. And the thing about it is, but we got 2 support. That's God and Jesus. And the same people that are fighting right now and fighting for years. I don't care whether you like me or not, because I know God loved me. You understand what I mean? And God haven't never lost a case. I come up here and see you all the time, and like I say, you get people up here and they retire, they don't stay out long enough, but they don't do nothing. They don't get us involved in the community. They don't come out to the community. They don't know what's going on. But we need role models, black role models. This is 2016. I moved here in 1960. It works now than it was then. And I can prove it. Anytime I stand before you, I can prove anything I tell you. You know, I could be home somewhere watching TV. This ain't my job, but somebody got to do it. We got to look up. I went through it. My grandfather went through it, and my kids went through it, and it's no different. It ain't changed. And I look at all the awards they gave out there tonight. I look at it. I look at the board here. This is 2016. When I went to Vietnam for 18 months, they put me out there fighting, and it ain't no different in the service. I didn't know black people was in the Air Force. I'm telling you, I didn't know they was in there. And the thing about it is, you go to church, and you all talk about God and Jesus, but it comes from the mouth. It got to come from the heart. God look at your heart. And God created me. The same God created me, he created you too. And the thing about it, we need to treat people with respect. I respect you if you don't like me. I know some of you don't. But I respect you. And I tell the truth. I respect you. You need to respect all of us. And what I'm talking about, I'm talking to the community out there too. We got some good teachers and some bad teachers. You understand what I mean? And you hired a teacher. You should get good qualified teachers. Now our kids won't fail. But I taught school.
Mr. Wilson, you're off subject. We're talking about the appointment or not.
The appointment, appointing good teachers.
We're talking about appointment to the board. Please stick to the subject.
I'm talking about, you know what? That's another thing. Like that, I just have to say, no respect. I'm talking about appointing good teachers and role models for the black kids. Now, that's what I'm talking about. You don't have them.
You'll have your chance to speak on that and the next thing where your sons are going to be the speakers.
Well,
but stick to the subject, please.
I'm sticking to the subject. You're not with the subject. And the thing about it, I'm coming here to talk about hiring some black people to come here. Our black kids need role models. Black kids, white kids, brown kids.
You're off the subject. Please stick to the subject. We're talking about whether we shall appoint or whether we should have an interview process for the board opening. You're way off track on what we're talking about. Please stick to the subject.
Okay, we need to appoint some black people, and some of the people from the community need to be on these boards. Because I think the people that do the appointment, they're not qualified. And that's why we're having all the problem now. The kids need help, and you appoint the right people in there. Kids don't have no role models. Appoint somebody so they can come in and see, well, I can be on the board of school teacher. You know what I mean? But the thing about it is, I wish y'all do a better job than you've been doing. I'm not saying that I don't have none animosity against none of you up here, but everybody coming is saying the same thing.
Please stick to the subject.
I'm talking about the same thing about
No,
hiring
you're not.
black people. I'm talking about hiring some people.
We're talking about an appointment.
That's what I'm talking about too.
All right, you just said appoint a black person, and that's
That
on
is
subject. That is on subject.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, appointing some black people. Because
All right.
the thing about it, we have kids going to school. They need role models too. And we don't have them. So you can say what you want. You the president of there, but you're not the president of me. You remember that.
I also remind you that there are at least six Christian men and women up here, and you're not the only Vietnam vet, and you're not the only whole man of... Sit down.
Tell me to sit down.
I'll tell you to sit down also.
Let's go. Come on.
They stick to the subject.
You out of order.
Yeah, he is out of order.
You out of
That's
order.
the problem with implicit racism in this community. It comes from right there. Come on. They did that in the 60s. This is 1916.
They understand.
Excuse me, I'm I just want to ask that was out of line. And I ask that an apology is made by the person who has said these things. If he doesn't apologize, I apologize on his behalf, even though I don't know how to do that, but I believe we're all here for the right reason, but that was inappropriate for how that was handled. So I just ask if you'd give us some grace, and allow us to, and I love to hear what Sebastian says. If the president would allow that, the chair would allow for Sebastian
Certainly,
to
he's
speak.
next in line.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sebastian Jones.
Calling point of order. When you say please sit down, I'll sit down.
Would you please sit down? Sebastian?
Yes. I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm going to speak now. You're in position. He's a man with respect, and a man just, he feel what he want to say. Regardless if he got off script or whatever. Let him have his say. We got tomorrow to look for. We got next week. You guys got to try to point or make an election. But what they're saying is you got to understand that being an African American, they come in here and they don't see none of theirs. For well over 15, 20 years, what I do, go to all these stores here and ask them what they hire black, and I'm off script. But I'm just trying to make a point. It would be nice to have some color, diversity in this town here. I just feel like they just hammer it down. You gotta understand when you're an African American, you gotta really understand. I would, Steve, apologize to him. I would. It's not gonna hurt. I mean, come on, we all gonna die one day. You know, we're gonna die. Die with a name, a legend, or something. Well, I'm going to say what I have to say. Just go ahead and just, it would be nice to have an election or something to hear set up a point. I don't think an appointment would do any good. Let the people vote. Let the people have it. I mean, hey, you got the money. Hey, let them go ahead and do it. This is what they feel that would make them happy. Whether they pick somebody Latino, black, or white, guess what? It was out there. It was out there. If you guys do it, they're gonna look and say, "Oh yeah," you know. They wasn't looking. We got some people. We got John Irvin. We got Reverend Cosby. All of them. Put your bid in. I tell them, you know, get on the election here. And make a difference. I want to thank you. And I'm sorry if I didn't speak to anyone, but hello. Happy New Year. I've been gone for a couple of months, but hello. So let's do what's right for the community. At least, you know, it's out there. At least it's out there. And let's just keep everything in decent and order. We don't want a war. We don't want anybody sitting out there at your house or sitting out there protesting around here. I mean, it can happen.
You're again off script.
Yes, I told you at the beginning I'm going to be off script, but the reason I'm saying it is, okay, I know you're up there, but Steve, what I'm saying is respect. Okay, that's all. These people's not taking it. You got to look at what they shut down the freeway up there in Oakland. Don't think they won't come to this town.
President Gumbo.
Identify yourself, please.
My name is Debbie Barrera. I'm a parent advocate, community advocate. My community stands behind me. I am saddened to know that Ruben Villalobos has left that chair, Hispanic. Desiree Ramos has left that chair, Hispanic. And I feel unsecure.
Don't forget Jordan Dixon.
Okay, Jordan Dixon as well left the chair. But like they said, they don't serve their 2 years. Last board meeting, I proudly said I elected you because they didn't want you, John. But I proudly said to you that I elected you.
No, you voted for him.
Okay, well, voted for you. But then at the same time, I also said when we took the break, I hope you're non-biased. I hope you will be willing to work with the community And I hope you would be willing to listen to our complaints, our concerns. And you told me to my face you would. So I just once again want to remind you of what you had told me, sir. And please, let's respect the community. Thank you.
I respect the community. They're just certain members. Last one.
Hi, my name is Lene Greer, and I am a junior at Grace M. Davis High School. And I just personally feel as though having another election, like you said, it's take up to $300,000. Now, there's still things in our schools without this school district that need to be paid for the students. You guys are pouring in money into something so useless when there was just an election. So why don't you use that money for something more useful? I mean, obviously, Mr. Chad is highly qualified. I mean, I understand that a lot of you adults believe that there should be an election because we do have the right to vote, but it's like, instead of pouring all of that money into a simple election, pour that money into what you're here for, the students. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Back to the board. Light them up.
I'll go.
John?
Okay, I just want to clarify just one sort of thing, because we're talking about a 24-month position. I would have loved for Desiree to still be sitting here next to me. She was a good person to have next to me. I think she also represented that community, but I don't think it's fair to say it's 24 months. I think by the time this is said and done, and you get it out on the ballot, get it onto the ballot, get it mailed to the people, get the election done, get it over with, get the person in the votes counted, certified by the county, and get the person seated up here, we're somewhere around 18, 19 months. In June, we're putting on the ballot another measure to put district-wide elections, which should theoretically take whoever is running out. Like Mr. McGill said, it's not cheap to run. I just did this. I do think that the appointment process, if we interview candidates and we get people in who are qualified that have a passion for the job and are willing to come in and participate and bring a point of view, they would be set up to go out in the election 2 years later and represent those communities. I agree with the young lady. If we pour $362,000 into an election for somebody to sit here for 18 months, that may very well have to walk right back out the door because of redistricting in June, that we don't even know what it's going to look like, seems, as we have been called and told in other meetings, throwing good money after bad. But I think that if you bring candidates in and we sit up here, and I'm certainly going to get called out if I make a bad call, that's obvious here, right? That you will put qualified people up here, and if Chad shakes out, Chad shakes out. If somebody else steps up and that community gets represented, they're in a position to then run for the 4-year seat in 19 or 20 months down the road. I think that's the financially right thing to do. I think it still puts the interview in place, and I still think it gives that community a chance to step
Our
up.
young student from Davis so eloquently put it, that don't spend money on this, basically. And that's a very good point. So I don't want to see us do an election, but I do want to hear, I want an interview process.
I also agree with Ms. Greer and her ideas from Davis, and how she said that how the cost of it is just an enormous amount of money that could be used for other purposes. So I'm going to go with the idea of doing an appointment process by the board and interview and appointment process.
That we should keep those funds within the district for the students, as was stated, and go through the application interview process that we have done. I have been a part of twice before.
All right, that takes us to the next thing. A request to address the board by Jacques Wilson, NAACP and Advocates for Justice.
Good evening, Superintendent and Board of Trustees. There's a video.
Would you get the
show?
Is your microphone on?
You're a little bit taller than the last couple.
Yeah. There's a video we wanted to show.
Right.
Is that queued up and ready to go? Okay. We wanted to show you all a video of our last event that we put on, where we took a lot of the students from the BSU in collaboration with Advocates for Justice. And we want to thank each and every one of you for providing the bus for that trip. We just want to show you a video real quick here.
Okay, so let's make a video.
Go Warriors.
front of you, like inches, feet away from you guys. So the tour will be quick. Famous shots there, so it's worth coming here early, right, Ruben?
All right, and just wanted to share that video with you all because even though I am going to not refrain from my comments tonight, I do want you to all know that we do go out, do events in the community, and we do give Modesto City School District its props. In that regard, when we were at the Warriors game, we let them know that we were working in collaboration with Modesto City Schools District, and we appreciated the fact that you all provided the bus for the students. Now, that being said, we also, in the materials, we gave it back, it was given back to us because we wanted to supplement this video. We also have another program that we do in addition to the events, and it's called Court Watch. And my office puts out, which is the San Francisco Public Defender's Office, an annual calendar. It's the 2015 annual report, 2016 calendar, and they gave a shout out to the folks in Court Watch, and you can see Modesto City School District students here as well. I didn't show you all that, but there you go, and I'll have copies for you. And so my point is we're more than just about events. We're about the students as well, and we're about the students becoming advocates, so student advocates. And a couple of them do want to address you and say a few words. They were unable to fill out the public comment cards because there was a line they couldn't get in because of the fire code, and they had to wait outside. I wanted to start off by saying yesterday was Martin Luther King's Day, and was a great man, is a great man, and we are here today to celebrate his legacy. And when you see us here today, we are coming to you in the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King. If he were here today, he'd be addressing these same issues that we're going to deal with as well. And he said that an injustice to one is an injustice to all. And so even though the numbers regarding suspensions have come down, and even though they have substantially come down with regards to expulsions, we still think that those numbers could be better. And I heard a lot of talk about Brown today, and the gentleman by name Mr. Brown. The Brown that I know is the Brown versus Board of Education. And that said that separate but equal was no longer the law of the land. And when you look at the discipline data when it comes to suspensions, the data shows that although we are together, it is still unequal in the school district when it comes to black students. And whether the people change up here or not, the problem remains the same. We came to you 5 years ago with the same issue. And like I said, even though we do commend you for getting the numbers down. I mean, that is great work that you all have done. But the point is, serious work remains. And the reality of the situation is that when we are talking about the suspension numbers, in regards to the data that was given to us for the 2015 school year, 2014, 2015 school year, there were 225 African American male students in grades 9 through 12. 56 of those students were suspended for a total of 110 suspensions. And so when we talk about suspension rate, the 56 divided by the 225 equals 24.89%. That's 1 out of every 4 African American male in high school was suspended. By comparison and contrast, when you look at white males who were 2023 students, they were suspended 175, there was 175 students suspended 260 times. 2023 students, 260 suspensions. Black students, males, 225 students, 110 suspensions. If that's not implicit bias, and I'll call it what it is, implicit racism, I don't know what it is. And we have said that from day one. Now, what is the Advocates for Justice Mentorship Program about? The program was formed to substantially reduce suspensions and expulsions in the Modesto City School District, eliminate disparities in education, and put an end to the prison to pipeline in our community. We aspire to motivate, inspire, and empower our students to achieve excellence and make positive contributions at school, in their communities, and to our world. Our purpose for being here today is to serve as a rallying point for engagement, discussion, and action. And you will hear from some of the student advocates, and I want you to hear from them only because they are the next generation of advocates. Now, we have been provided the disciplinary data, and I'll go over that in a second. But we also have a 10-point plan that we would like to suggest. And the reason that the 10-point plan focuses on African American students is because they are the ones who are being disciplined disproportionately across all lines, and they are the ones who are being kicked out of school more than their counterparts. Now, the reason that the 10-point plan focuses and addresses African American students is because if we can get their numbers up, then the whole district numbers go up. And I think that we would all want that. So part of our 10-point plan is to have an office or a task force on African American achievement, success, and leadership. And with that $300-something thousand that you may be saving by not doing a general election, that money can be used to save these students here and other students that look like them. And the reason that that's important, and you can look to other jurisdictions, Alameda County, San Francisco, Sacramento, all those counties have offices or initiatives, because this isn't only a Modesto problem. And I don't mean to be here to say that you are the only ones who are disproportionate, because you're not. But what I mean to say is, why can't Modesto be better than everyone else? Okay, and once again, an injustice to one is an injustice to all. I'm not in those other places advocating. I'm advocating the community I grew up in, where I came from. Now, the second point that we would have is to target more resources to African American students. And the reason we say that is because Superintendent Abel in her Board of Education says, you know, welcome to the 2015-2016 school year, and talking about our plan focused on 3 main goals regarding LCAP. Number 1, provide facilities that are safe and welcoming to enhance and maximize learning opportunities. 2, increase student achievement to ensure each student demonstrates success with Common Core standards and to be college and career ready. And number 3, support students' academic and social success by providing access to remediation and enrichment opportunities and promoting positive well-being. So by targeting more resources to African American students, you further the LCAP goals, which were initially intended for poor students, English learner, and foster kids. Number 3, transparency and accountability regarding the LCAP data. The whole idea behind the LCAP funds is for, like I said, the 3 groups I targeted. I know Modesto City Schools has a lot of kids who are poor, English learner, and some foster kids. And so I know that a lot of those funds have been put to the general education pool. But the point that I'm getting at is that part of that dealt with the LCAP is dealing with the community and having the community have access to the data so that we can hold you accountable, so that we can come here and say, look, we agree with this plan or we don't agree with this plan. And I'm sitting here with Mr. Frank Johnson, president of NAACP, and when we put our Freedom of Information Request Act out in July, we were charged $100-something in order to get the information. Now, if an application to get on this board can be posted online, I don't see why the data can't be posted online so that community members can look at that information and they can make, you know, appropriate calls and decisions, especially when the money was directed at that. Now, point number 4 is to have fully staffed and supported BSUs at each junior high and high school. And that would be consistent with Ms. Abel's goal number 3 of enrichment opportunities and promoting positive well-being. Number 5, leadership days, trainings, and career and educational trips for African American students. And I know that you all are doing that, and I commend you for that. And we thank you, as I said, for helping out with the Warriors trip. But, you know, the LCAP funds can be used and directed there. Another point number 6, counselors and mentors for students suspended 2 or more times. And the reason that that is so important, ladies and gentlemen, is that when you look at the data that I talked to you about with regards to the African American students, the males, we're just going to focus on that for now, regarding grades 9 through 12, 225 enrolled, number of students 56, suspended 110 times. That means that a lot of those kids were suspended 2 or more times. Okay, that type of disproportionality is in no other group. So if you want to deal with that issue, why not provide counselors and mentors for students who are suspended 2 or more times? The data and research shows that when you do that, that the numbers of suspensions and expulsions go down. Number 7, implicit bias training. And why do we need implicit bias training? We need it that addresses administrators, we need it to address teachers and students. But we need it, and here's a classic example. When I was talking about the data regarding the African American males versus the white males in grades 9 through 12, if you have an enrollment of 2,023 for white students and 260 suspensions, as opposed to an enrollment of 225 African American students, 110 suspensions. There's no other explanation, since you're not going to come out and say that people are being racist or targeting African Americans, that there's implicit bias going on here in those numbers. And whether the teachers intend it or they don't, the point is that when you look at the numbers, it shows that there is a serious problem. And I just want to bring up one point. When we're talking about implicit bias training, and this is, you know, regarding the comment that was made to my father to sit down. My father's 82 years old, Vietnam veteran. He lived in the segregated South, lived through Plessy versus Ferguson, the Board of Education. He grew up in the South. He moved out to Northern California to try to find a better life for his family, and he was confronted with racism there. He's been fighting this school district for over 50 years for equal treatment for people, not just black students, for all students. And so the point that I'm getting at is, for a man who comes from the South to hear a white man tell him to sit down is the same type of segregation that he had to leave when he was in the South, when folks said, boy, go the other way. Now, I'm gonna tell you one thing. He is no boy, he's a man, and a man makes men. And I'm here to support him, whether he was off the mark or not. If you had been dealing with this type of data and issues for 50 years, you'd be off the mark a little as well. Okay. Now, whether President Greenbow, whether you intend Greenbow, I apologize, sir.
One E.
Greenbow.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Whether you meant it or not, the point that I'm trying to explain to you is that that's what we're talking about when we're talking about implicit bias. Is that even though you didn't think that you offended someone, you offended a lot of people out here when you made that comment. Okay.
Well, if I offended him, I apologize for that. But he accused us of not being Christians up here, and that's what started.
And I understand that if that's how you interpreted it, but you're an elected official, he's not, and you're held to a higher standard, and he's here, you know, and so the point that I'm getting at, and I don't want to focus on that too much, but it is something I had to address if I'm talking about implicit bias here. Okay. And in all fairness, we all have biases. And so I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't either. But what I'm saying is that we all need training when it comes to that issue. And number 8 is transparency and accountability regarding the discipline data. Once again, we had to pay $100-something for the suspension and expulsion data that we got. If there's no secret, then there shouldn't be anything to hide. And the great news is, like I said, let's be real. I mean, you guys' numbers have come substantially down. This is our 5th year coming before you all. We started coming in 2011, 2012. We came at the July 2012. At that point, suspensions, regarding African American students were 542. Last year, you got them down to 229. That's great work, and we're here to commend that. And we want to see, regarding the expulsions in 2011, 2012, 9 African American students. The 2013, 2014, 1 expelled. Last year, 4. And I spoke to Ed Miller, and he confirmed today that as of we speak today, that there has been 0 students expelled. And what I want to say to all of you is that as advocates for justice, we speak out for all students here, all students in the district. We're only saying what we're saying about African American students because those are the ones who are being disproportionately impacted. Now, and I'm getting close to where I got to go. Number 10 is community collaboration, and that's working with folks like us, which you guys are doing, and continued support with individuals like Jorge Perez, who we work with, who is phenomenal, and he's like our Underground Railroad when it comes to you all, since we've had issues in the past. Jorge Perez makes things happen. I want to also thank the Modesto Police Clergy Council. I know they were here earlier, and want to thank them all. I also want to thank the community members for being here, and those who are here for Advocates for Justice in NAACP. Will you please stand up so that the board will know? Yeah, that's you got. Okay. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. I also, want to thank Mr. Ronaldo Rucker, who is a teacher here, and without his support, a lot of this would not be possible. And I wish when I were in school that there were more folks who look like Ronaldo Rucker and who are leading by example like Mr. Rucker. And I'll tell you one thing, when it comes to that man and that teacher and that person, he has my support 150% for whatever he does. Because I know that when it comes to students, he has their back. I've seen him come out of his own pocket just like we have. I've seen him spend his own hours and time to just give nothing but love and support. And I just, I apologize, but when I was in school, I just didn't have anyone like Mr. Rucker to look up to at Modesto High. And if I had, maybe I wouldn't have been suspended 5 times my senior year and recommended for expulsion. And if there would have been a person like Mr. Rucker or a program like Advocates for Justice, maybe those things would not have happened. And I'm trying to wrap up, I know we're limited on time. And I appreciate the time that you all, have given me. But I just want to, end here on, it was Martin Luther King's Day yesterday. And I want to put a little spin on his I Have a Dream speech. And like I said, but for the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, myself and other individuals would not be here today. So even though we face the difficulty of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this school district will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all students, whether black, brown, or white, should be treated equal. With that being said, once again, we look forward to continue working with you all. I am a product of Modesto City Schools. I will always be a product of Modesto City Schools, and I will always be proud of my school district. Thank you.
Okay, I'm kind of short here. Hello, my name is Divine Trahan, and I'd like to start. AFJ, Advocates for Justice. I know I wouldn't be here without it, but because I know of it, I am here. Advocates for Justice taught me that there is so much in the world, but my eyes are being covered by the same old things that I have been taught through elementary to now. Hello, my name is Divine Trahan, currently a junior at Davis High. I've been a part of BSU for 3 years and now part of the UBSUC Northern Region Board as Sergeant at Arms, and also with the Boys and Girls Club at the King Kennedy Center. BSU stands for Black Student Union. No, you do not have to be black to be in the club. We accept everyone. I'm currently serving the position of second vice. I have to say everything we do keeps me motivated to stay in the club. I love seeing new faces that love to be motivated and goal-oriented just like me. Advocates for Justice have been able to support BSU in so many things as court watches in San Francisco, that's a far trip, MJC, leadership conferences, Golden State Warriors, thank you again, Oakland A's game, and intern trainingship, and the UBSUC State Convention. With these events, we are able to explore new heights, but without financial support, we will be unable to expand and continue on these experience. My name is Divine Trahan, and I want to thank the school board for their time.
Hello, my name is Ashanti Thurston, and I'm the president of the BSU Club at Grayson Davis. I am also a part of the UBSUC Northern Regional Board as treasurer, and I am also a part of the Boys and Girls Club at the King Kennedy Center. BSU, which stands for Black Student Union, is about black students coming together to change the community. In the in the BSU Constitution it says, the Black Student Union shall ensure the social enrichment and educational goals of its member, particularly an African American student of this campus, by using campus resources and resources available in the community. Second, the BSU shall provide students with an experience in African American culture. Grace Davis High School, BSU, aims to develop closer cooperation and understanding among Black students in all organizations on the campus. This, I believe, is true because we try to reach out to everyone that we can so the community can have a higher chance of the success in the future. We strive to close the academic gap in our community, not just for Black students, but for all students that need the help and that wants it. The purpose of this organization is to teach the positive aspects of African American culture and make sure all students are aware of the African American history. Our BSU Vice President will talk more about the UBSUC Regional Conference coming up also. Thank you for your time.
Hello, once again, I'm Lene Greer from the Vice President of the Grayson Davis BSU Club. Now, before I say something, I'd like everybody to look at what that board says. It says a diploma in every hand. In an article written by Nan Austin, it says Black students are still more likely to be expelled. You say a diploma is in every hand, but you still neglect the programs like BSU in order to keep those children out of these types of statistics. Now, I am the Vice President of the Grayson Davis Black Student Union, and I'm also a part of the Boys and Girls program at the King Kennedy Center. Now, with many African American teens, they feel as though not seeing many Black faces in the teaching staff or administrative board is degrading in a sense, and in a sense it scares them. It scares me. I see none of you that look like me. As an African American teen, only seeing one face in my teaching staff, Mr. Rucker, it hurts. I feel as though we are looked down upon. According to a group of peers, several have even said that they are more likely to feel disrespectful or retaliate against someone of higher power who is of non-color. Also, I personally feel as though I can be picked on by teachers who aren't the same color as me. Coming to BSU makes me feel at home. I see people who are just like me, and I feel as though they actually understand where I'm coming from. Before I knew about BSU due to the lack of promotion and noticeability, I never wanted to be at school because I felt unwanted and uncomfortable. Funding programs like this, with this statistic still around, would be almost close to diminished, because children of my color, of my race, that understand where I'm coming from, they'll have that sense of like, yo, school actually understands me. There aren't a lot of programs like this. Closing this academic achievement gap is an important task to me because it strips away that feeling of being looked down upon. Success to me is an enormous personal goal, but to see my fellow brothers and sisters succeed as well is an even greater goal. With BSU, they are able to know where we come from, and success is a prominent motivation. Without understanding our past, we are not able to understand what we are doing for a future. Having more programs and funding the existing BSUs like ours helps bring forth more opportunities of our youth, and hence they will they will see even more motivation to be a part of something so transcending. Keeping the support of the MCS school district will help ensure the pursuit of excellence in our organization and help build a thriving atmosphere. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rita Tillery. My granddaughter was a student at La Loma Junior High School. In September of this year, she went to school on a Monday morning. When she got to the bus stop, a little white boy approached her with 2 sticks in the form of a cross and started to shout racial slurs at her. and attacked her, scratched her, threw rocks at her. When she defended herself by slapping him, they got on the bus and they went on to school. When they got to school, he said nothing. He didn't say anything to any of the teachers, nor did she. When she got back on the bus to come home from school, when she got off the bus, sometime during that school day, he called his older sister. She was there to meet them at the bus stop. She went to Downey High School. When she got off the bus, she approached my granddaughter, who at the time was 12 years old. She approached my granddaughter. She followed her home. She asked her what happened. My granddaughter decided she wasn't going to say anything. She kept walking. The girl followed her. My granddaughter's hair was in the style that this young lady right here on the end's hair was. Could you stand, please? He's having a problem. He wants to see what. Her hair was in that style there. The white girl pulled her by her hair, pulled her down in the middle of the street, and began to beat my granddaughter like a dog in the street. Cars went around her. When my granddaughter got home, she called me. At the time, I was fixing food to prepare to go out and feed the homeless in the Modesto city. I stopped what I was doing. I went home to check on my granddaughter, who at the time was hysterical and in tears. She told me where this little boy lived. I went around the corner to where this little white boy lived to talk to his mother. She said, "Oh, no, not my child. He knows nothing about that." The little boy stood there next to his mother and lied to him. No, I didn't say that. And my granddaughter said, "Yes, you did." And finally, when I said, he said KKK, and that his family was skinheads, he finally admitted to it. And so I walked away. Well, the next day, that Tuesday morning, I went to La Loma Middle School to talk to someone about it. And what they did was, when my granddaughter came home from school that day, she came home with the suspension letter. They gave my granddaughter in-school suspension for defending herself from this little white boy that had scratched her on her arm and had threw rocks at her and said he was the KKK and from the skinheads. But I couldn't understand why my granddaughter got suspended. They wanted to suspend her. So I went up to the school to find out. And they claimed with Frank Johnson from the NAACP, and to find out why they suspended my granddaughter, why they wanted to give her in-school suspension. They claimed, after we talked to the principal and the vice principal, who was very adamant about she cannot come back to class unless she went to in-school suspension. And I was very adamant that she was not going to in-school suspension because she did nothing wrong but defend herself from the racial slurs and from the hate crime that was thrown against her. And they were determined, Mr. Day, the vice principal, was determined that she was going to go, and indeed she wasn't coming back to school unless she did this in-school suspension. And I'm still not understanding why, but they claimed there was a cooling off period. She didn't need to be cooled off. She did nothing wrong. If she was not gonna be able to go to class, then she was not going back to school. And I was determined that she was not going back to school. So I took it upon myself and my daughter to go to the superintendent to see what was going on. And then they called. Yes, they called. I ended up having to call the police. The charges for the hate crime were dropped because of the age, but there was assault against a young girl. Well, Modesto City schools neglected to protect my child. My granddaughter was able to go back to school, but do you know that the little boy was suspended for 3 days, but he was allowed to get back on the bus with my granddaughter? I don't understand why. After what he did to her, he was still able to ride this bus with my granddaughter. And to this day, that little boy is still riding that same bus. My granddaughter doesn't go to that school anymore because the year before that, she dealt with bullying. And then she dealt with the hate crime. And then again, after this situation with the hate crime, the same little girl that she dealt with the bullying was allowed to bully her again. So she's no longer at La Loma Middle School. But Modesto City Schools failed to protect my child. They failed to protect my black. I dealt with that coming up in the 50s and 60s. I didn't think my grandchild was going to have to deal with the same thing I dealt with when I came up in the 50s and 60s. And it's still going on. And to see what happened just right now with this black man, to what he just dealt with up here in this podium, is, I don't understand it. And these kids have no role model. They see nothing. They have no role model whatsoever. They don't even have any black teachers to be over the black student unions in the schools. What do they have? They have nothing. They have nothing. Modesto City Schools, we need to get our act together. We have no black teachers. We have no black janitors. We have no black anything. We have nothing. We have no black role models in the Modesto City Schools, and we need it, and we need it now.
I'm about to attempt to try. Play by the rules. Well, I'm going to mirror everybody else. Governor Brown. Governor Brown. Oh.
Yeah, on behalf of all of us. I know. I just hate for them to leave before we can make a comment. Just briefly, I just wrote down some thoughts before you all leave. That it takes incredible courage to come before this dais. I found you to be most gracious and appreciative of what has been provided for you. I believe that our future is in good hands with our students as you express yourself tonight. You are articulate, you were calm, you were kind. You were a great example to everyone here tonight, and I just wanted to express that appreciation to you. It was mentioned that you have nothing. You have me, you have us, and I appreciate that you care for others, and I don't understand the hate, but I just wanted to express my gratitude to you for being here tonight and for expressing yourself so well. Thank you so much.
Anybody else on the board wish to make a comment?
I'll second what Ms. Trustee Wallen just said. Agreed. 100%.
All right. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, sweetheart. Ms. Greer. Come to the microphone.
I just wanted to correct. You said that my peers and I, the hate, there was never hate. Hold on, wait, just wait. Hold on. There was never hate. I just feel as though when we speak the truth and what we have seen, that is not hate. That is opening your eyes, Ms. Wallen. Good night.
Thank you.
I'll take that.
Thank you for your
Good
comments.
evening, Board, Madam President, or Superintendent and President. My name is Jock Wilson. I am Jock Wilson's twin brother. And I'm going to keep it real quick and brief tonight because, like you guys, I have a job. I have to be to court in San Francisco at 8 o'clock tomorrow. And just to get here, I understand your sacrifice and your commitment, because just to get here, I had to leave San Francisco at 3. I'm not going to get home till 12 tonight. So on top of doing my day job, this is going to take 9 hours and be in court. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for your time, the commitment that you give to the students. And, you know, I'm just up here just to say that, look, I still, and the last time I said, I always said, I still wear my high school ring. I graduated from Modesto High in 1992. I'll never take this ring off. I'm proud of this district, and I'm proud of this board. I think this board has done good, but it can do a lot better. Just like I can do a lot better. Every morning I wake up and I look at myself and say, what can I do to make a difference in this world? And I think that all of us need to say that. And one of the main things that I want to talk about is that one of the things that we've done, we've partnered with the Golden State Warriors. We've partnered with the San Francisco Public Defender's Office. We've taken kids to San Francisco, to A's games, to Raiders games, to fishing trips, to walks across the Golden Gate Bridge, a bunch of things, and never once have we had one incident. And so I think that one of the things when the students were talking about more role models, I think that they need to have more role models like my brother and I. And when we stand up, I think that you guys need to encourage. I mean, we are community partners. We want to work with you. We don't want to work against you. We want to be part of the solution and not the problem. And if you want to see the work that we do, we create a lot of videos. But what I'd like to do is the next time we go on a trip, to invite some of you guys up there. When we went on the Warriors trip, you guys were kind enough to give us a bus. There were like 40 extra seats in that bus. I would love to have other people come. And we don't just, you know, we're up here. I'm African American, but my mother was white. I don't care about a kid's color. You know, to me, one unjust suspension, whether or not the kid is black, Latino, or white, is one too many. And as my brother was saying on that same thing, an injustice to one is injustice to all. And so what we are here to do today is to advocate for all parents, all students. I mean, every week, one of the things in my brother's 10-point plan, I just want to just emphasize this, and then I'm going to end real quickly. I get calls, and I'm in San Francisco. I get calls at least once a week or once every 2 weeks from parents, white parents, Latino parents, African American parents, about their kids being suspended. And what I would like to recommend to this board is that those parents are concerned. Those are their students. That's their precious item, their resource. And when those parents, what I would like to suggest is that maybe the board consider getting a suspension expulsion advocate or a parent advocate. Because when I sit down and I talk with those parents and I tell them, well, what did your son do? And then I tell them some of the alternatives and what they need to do when they go to the school district. Those people don't walk away upset at the district. They say they feel empowered because now they know how to get that suspension out of their school, their child's suspension folder. The grandmother, Miss Tillery, who stood up real quickly, and I just want to commend her for coming up here. Her granddaughter was suspended for defending herself. And the amazing thing about that, when I read that article, because it was in the Modesto Bee, and I want to thank Miss Nan Austin for being a very objective writer. We're really blessed in this area to have such a beautiful writer. And she does a great job of reporting the facts and the truth. And I just want to just thank you, because I know a lot of times reporters, and especially when you report the facts, you get thrown under the bus. But I just want to say that thank you for being objective, and thank you for being a voice out here for the voiceless. But with that being said, Miss Tillery's granddaughter was suspended for a cooling down period. I've never seen in a district handbook where a kid can be suspended for a cooling down period. I mean, if there's such a thing, I want to see it. I mean, I think that woman deserves an apology for that. I mean, I only say that is because when my brother was talking about the disproportionality in the numbers, I think that when we look at that, we're going to find a lot more stories like Miss Tillery. I think that what we need to do is go back and look at some of the data and talk to some of the parents. There's another parents here today, and like I said, I have Latino parents call me, white parents. There's a lady named Gina, although she has kids who are mixed, and then there's a parent named Mr. and Mrs. Acosta. They're right here, the Latino. I mean, these people call me, and they pour out their hearts. These are their kids, their students. I don't even have a kid in this district, but I come down here because I feel their passion. And I know that they want the best for their kids, and I know that you do too. And I just want to thank you for all you've done, but there's a lot more that can be done. My brother and I are here. The NAACP is here. We're here to be your community partners. If there's an issue and you want to talk to us, by all means, give us a call. Thank you.
Before you start to speak, Mr. Wilson, as one Vietnam veteran to the other, if I insulted you, it wasn't meant that way, and I apologize.
Well, you insulted me, but it didn't bother me. Because when I get up in the morning, I pray to God. It was a good day or bad day. But that ain't the first time you did it. That's not the first time you did it. And I'm not here, I'm not your enemy. Okay, I'm not your enemy. What I'm talking, we came here, we got a 501c3 tax exemption number. And we requested the data on the exposure and stuff. I had to pay $131. I give all of y'all should have a copy of it to get that information. And I don't feel like we should have paid it.